Hey, welcome to Game Dev Weekly. If you're new here, I'm working on Hydroneer, a mining game where you dig for gold and other resources to build massive mining machines. And I'm back this week. I took some time off over Christmas and New Year's. Also, I caught a bit of a cold that you can kind of hear still. I've been doing a lot of planning in my time off, and I'll be going into it later on in the video. But essentially, I want to be releasing Hydroneer on Steam later this year. One of the first things we looked at this week was changing the item sounds. So now when you pick up and drop items, there's different sounds. Dan, the sound designer, thought that he wanted to improve on the sounds a bit more. So we've come up with different sounds for each actual item. So tools, buildable parts, and resources will all have different sounds. I really like how each item type has its own sound. I think it kind of really brings everything together. We also changed the noise for actually dropping the item. So it's kind of like the opposite of picking up the item. It's this kind of swooshing sound, which is kind of cartoony, and I feel it fits the game pretty well. The next thing I've been working on is the backpack and some new tools. Now these two tools, they're actually powered by the backpack. They work as these expensive late game tools that need to be powered by these crystal shards. You may remember these crystal shards are the same ones that power the water pressure system. So it kind of just adds like a new element of usefulness for these. Alright, so first what you need to do is open the backpack just by clicking on it. You pick up the crystal shard, put that in there, and then we'll close it up again. And now that's sitting in the back of there, so whenever a tool is connected to it, then it'll sap the power from here. So what you do is you press Q to equip this, and Q will be a key that is going to be used later on when I add the rig system back in and we actually have drivable vehicles. So I'm going to pick it up, and now I've got it on my back. If I look down, I can just about see it. So first I'll pick up the drill. So I still need to do a little bit of work on it. Like the wire is kind of sort of connected. It doesn't look too great, but we can fix that up later. So now if I hold the mouse button, it'll start working, and then if I let go, it'll stop. And this is basically just used to dig the terrain. You can see it's pretty powerful. All the dirt pieces there are combining together. That's why they're snapping to create one big one. So I think it can still use a bit of work. I think it needs some like special effects, and maybe we need to look over the sounds again. It does the job pretty well, just digging up this terrain, and it saps the power of the shard quite quickly. The next tool is the mag rifle, and this was a request by Patreon. Basically, it works the same as this mining tool here. It saps the power from the backpack. Not as fast though, because obviously it's not kind of as useful, so we need a bit of balance through that. And basically the way it works is when you hold down the mouse button, it will magnetize any resource in the game. I know obviously gems aren't attracted to magnets, but I guess that's just gameplay for you. Still needs a little bit of work, not 100% there, but it works pretty well. So this is basically used as if you've got a lot of resources scattered all over your base, you just want to pick them up quickly. I'll be working on these tools a little bit more this week.
It's been a while since I've been on camera, and I think I've just changed the format of my video a bit, and I want to kind of come back to being on the camera a bit more in the future. I think a lot more of these videos are going to be me talking about things rather than just showing them off, especially as we move towards May. I want to actually release Hydroneer in May. Well, I'm hoping to release Hydroneer in May. We're going to be spending a lot more time just advertising Hydroneer. So I'm going to be talking about my process with this. I'm going to be doing quite a lot of research into advertisement, and especially trying to meet my wishlist target on Steam. By the time this video comes out, 0.7 might be out. I'm not too sure right now, but we're almost there. I still got quite a few more things to do on it though, especially there's going to be a tutorial video on this one. So going forward, I want to have a tutorial video for each update. As they change, I'll probably change the actual tutorial video, but for the most part, it'll probably stay the same. So once that's out, I'll start to be working towards the 1.0 update, which will be out in probably February, March time, and that is the point where this is the Steam version of the game. So this will probably be the last version that will be available on Patreon. What's going to happen is when the game actually goes on sale on Steam, everyone who has paid the sale price of the game at that time, so that means if the game launches with a discount, which it probably will, then if you've paid up to that price on Patreon, then you can have the game for free on Steam, and then all of the updates that are on Steam. I'll actually give a bit of warning for this as well, so then if you are maybe like halfway there, then you can just kind of like pay the difference, and then you don't have to just buy the game again if you want to buy it on Steam. So to keep people around, what I've been doing is I've been working on a small prototype game. This is something I haven't really talked about too much. I've talked to it with a few people, but essentially it's a online multiplayer, probably a World War II game. I'm not completely sure on the theme. I've just been working on like a technical prototype, and what I've created so far is really impressive. I'll go more into this later on, but I think it's going to be a really cool game to work on next. That being said, Hydroneer isn't going to stop development as soon as it's finished on Steam. It will be, you know, it's not going to be released in early access necessarily, but I'll still be doing some updates every now and then. So anyway, enough of this, back on some development.
The next thing that's going to be in this update is I'm going to take a fresh look at these conveyor belts. Now, you may remember in one of the previous episodes, before I actually put this in the update, I did say I want to come back to it, and I think this is it. So what we've got here is conveyor belts. If you put anything on top of them, then they'll move. If you stand on top of them, it'll also move you. But one of the problems that I'm kind of having is this water that's just constantly coming out, and that's just coming out because there's nothing attached to the pipe. So what I've decided I want to add in here is a valve. So that means you can, by default it'll be on, but you can basically just turn the valve off, which will kind of be on the side right here, and then it'll stop the water coming through. Gameplay wise, it doesn't affect much, but I think it's just kind of quite annoying to have this water constantly coming out when you're working next to it. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. James has actually sorted out the model already, so all I've got to do is just texture it, code in some valve stuff, which I've actually already done for the pipe valve, if you remember that. Then just replace the model, and that'll probably be it for this conveyor belt. Alright, that's the conveyor belts in. They've also got these valves on here that you can see. So if I turn this one off here, then it should turn off all of these ones. But this one will still function because the water's coming in through this corner pipe. If I turn that back on, then all these will function. But the main purpose of this is literally just to turn this off here. I think it looks really good. I'm a big fan of these red kind of valves. They're quite easy to see and easy to recognize what it actually is, which is actually quite important. I've also added some little arrows down here as well, so you can tell before you actually place this down which is the direction of travel. Pretty happy with how these conveyor belts turned out. I think I'll leave it like that and move on to the next thing. The final thing in this update is the stock market. I wanted a different way that players can sell items, and especially maybe if they wanted to hold on to some for later on. I think it actually ties in quite well to what I'm going to be adding into the next update, which I'll probably explain in one of the next videos. So it's pretty simple. The way it works is there's a green arrow and up arrow depending if the stock is higher or lower than its base value. It doesn't tell you much exactly about what the base value is, and I kind of wanted to make players have to kind of work it out and figure it out on a day-to-day basis. Prices are figured out per weight, so you can see these actually are quite similar in price, but they are depending on weight. So the price would naturally be higher than it would be for like an axe or the dagger. It works pretty much the same as the other store. You place the item on the table and then press the button to sell. This is the other stock market. It's a little bit different to the other one. It's on the shore side, and it's got the gold bars, iron bars, gems, and fish as well. I wanted to have two different ones to kind of break up the location as well. That's going to do it for this week's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. If you want to check out Hydroneer and play it yourself, then head over to the Patreon link below. For a minimum of $2, you can jump straight into the game and keep whatever you download. If, however, you want to wait until the game's finished, then head over to the Steam page linked below. You can add it to your wishlist over there. A big thank you to all my Patreons. I really appreciate your support. I hope you guys enjoy the new version. That's it for me on this video. I will see you guys next week.